just fixed my microphone, like always. It's funny because I deleted my last video because I thought it was like, it just went on for too long and I thought it was like unprofessional because I just rambled, but now I just am screwing this up again. So yeah, that's my collection. Um, I don't know whether to move them, or whether I should hold them or whatnot, but I guess I should hold them. I mean, these are the FNAF characters. That one in the middle, let me, like this one, this is Tony, my first bear. I have him with all the FNAF characters, because I don't want him to be lonely, but yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Like, I don't know how to do this video, really. So anyway, if you don't know who these characters are, let me just show you. So that's Freddy, the main guy of the series. This is Bonnie. This is Mangle. Like, she came later. I think she came in the second game. They call her Mangle because she's basically all mangled up in her robot form. This is Foxy. He's part of the original, and I don't have Chica, the chicken. I mean, I know, like, they're all forest animals. Why a chicken? But yeah, it's four, and I don't have her. I didn't really like her design that much, but I guess as a completionist, I want to get Chica. I saw, I don't know, a design that I kinda guess is an improvement of the original, but I don't know. And they're silly looking, like very funny. I think and we were first introduced by these. They're very like true to what they look in the game, at least in the fourth game. We are introduced to plushies and they are very similar looking to how they look in the game, so I was very interested and that's why I ended up buying them. So there's that, but yeah. And they do have a lot more plushies because of course they have the puppet, they have the new sister location characters, Baby and Ballora and another one of, Freddy and another and basically Foxy again, but with more details as to how she looks in that game because they open up or whatever. And it's not like the plushies open up or anything, so I don't know. I never liked the design of them either, so I never got into buying them. And then there's like another one of these, like a hand puppet or whatever. But anywho, oh, and there's also like a golden Bonnie and a golden Freddy, because those are different characters in the game. If you don't know, Golden Bonnie is actually like Springtrap. I'll get into him later. And Golden Freddy, like, he appears in the game, and it's funny because it is all about Freddy's Fazbear Pizza, like the pizzeria. Like, he's the main guy who they use to promote the pizzeria, but it's Golden Freddy who really is the one who brings more mystery to the game series, basically. Like, he practically appears as, like, a ghost or a phantom, like a phantom in the first game. But, yeah, anyway, as for what I like about the FNAF series, well, what can I say about it? I mean, when it first started, I became a fan of it through Markiplier and game theory, I guess. because there were some things when looking at the gameplay in Markiplier, there were some things that were hinted at, or there were some things that some information through either dialogue or through something that popped up in the game. They gave us kind of like a hint of as to what happened, as to why these things are attacking us in the game, because these, if you don't know, the game is about basically this Chuck E. Cheese's type restaurant, or this restaurant with like animatronics, those like those robotic things that you put a quarter in and they sing and dance. They apparently come to life at night and they try to attack you, who being that you're the security guard and you have to fend for yourself, and that's what the game is all about. And I thought it was, a simple game. I'm not a huge gamer. I think games have become a lot more complicated than they used to, and this is, a more simple game, probably a more of what I would probably play. Maybe not now, since I've already gotten used to it with all of the games that have come out. And yeah, I mean, there was also another game called FNAF World, which took an even like more sillier, more meta commentary to it. It was like an RPG, and I liked that game. A lot of other people didn't. And with game theory, over the years, over these 4 years, it's felt longer than that. I have to be honest with you guys, but it's only been 4 years that this game has come. And I understand that many people don't like this game. That I understand. Because basically, what ended up happening was that, like I said before, there were hints, there were clues, and then there were, like, basically the creator of this game. It was almost like he was challenging the gamers to figure this out. To basically look for the story themselves and the clues that he was giving. And then he made it even harder, and he pushed even harder, and then for some odd reason, and I don't really agree with this, is that some of the clues were just, or some of the things that Matt Patt would use as proof were silly little things like the color of the text and stuff like that. And apparently that was a thing that the creator was actually doing. So it was a bit like far-fetched. It was, and I get what he was trying to do. It was basically like kind of like a puzzle piece, kind of like a treasure hunt, basically like an Easter egg hunt. And I don't fault him for that. That's actually pretty smart. That made it a lot more interesting than it really was. The thing is, and if you don't know the game, or if you're not interested in the game, or if you're not interested in the details, the I I think it's safe to say that the bottom line, the basic story here with this entire game is that it's basically a haunted, it's basically like a haunted house or whatever, like, situation. Because, or it's a haunted house story. Let's just say that. It's a ghost story. It's a ghost story in the way that we have. I'm here rambling again. I'm sorry, I have something in my teeth. So, okay. Um, I mean, over the years, the the game has been the story or the lore has been complicated and has been made complicated by the creator himself, by Matt Patt, and by many other people who have been trying to figure this out. Quite frankly, I wish somebody else would have tried to figure this out, like maybe Nick Nocturne from Night Mind or Nightmare Expo or even Rainbot. You know, these people who spec like spec they specifically go into this horror content of this type of stuff. I think once Matt Pat got his hands on it, I think that's where it started to go downhill. I think that's when many of the horror content speculators or creators or whatever you want to call them kind of just said this isn't horror anymore and it's really more silly than horror. That is a shame because I feel that the basic storyline here is that some dude working at the pizzeria or having a part of the pizzeria, you know, diddled or kidnapped or, you know, did whatever he wanted to some kids. He murdered them, and these kids, wanting revenge, possessed these animatronics, like I said, from the pizza place. And now at night, they look for revenge and trying to kill whoever they come across at inside the pizzeria. And they attack the security guard because at the time I guessed it was the security guard who did it. As the games gave us more details later on, we found out that the guy, well, the murderer was represented by this purple guy. Everybody just called the purple guy, and we later found out that it was Michael Afton, and he was like some. He designed the robots and whatever, but I don't want to get into too much details. Basically, the bottom line is these things are possessed by dead kids and they want revenge. And that's the story that I'm going to stick to. I think that's basically the story that they take in the first 3 games. I mean, and by the third game it was supposed to be the last one. They're supposed to like be at peace. Golden Bonnie, the purple guy. Like it is shown in that game, in the third game, that they do find peace because that guy, he tries to like he dismantles the animatronics, like the animals, and he thinks he's won. But then in that same game, we're shown that the ghost of the spirits come out. They spook the bad guy, and he enters one of the robots because they can be used as suits. He hides in it, and it crushes him and it smashes him, and he ends up possessing the golden Bonnie suit, which is this guy, except for gold. So, and as for Golden Freddy, apparently, I guess that was like the first kid that got murdered. This guy, but only gold. And you know, that's that's the story. And there's a puppet. So as for the puppet, that was a thing about game theory that they like they they made it really confusing. And so did the creator. I mean, he really just went along with whatever Matt Pat was trying to like. And that's the thing, is that it was only Matt Patt who apparently the creator would only give hints to or would only reach out to, because apparently he was the closest one to it, so he would throw him a bone every now and again, and that's a shame, because I wish it was, it just became more family friendly than I think it should have had been. Well, maybe it wasn't more like it just, the thing about this game is that in the first game there was like a sense of humor to it. And the more we dug into it, I think the more serious we wanted this game to be. And we forgot that it also had a sense of humor to it, a sense of sarcasm, a sense of there's like the like in the first game, the guy who's giving the instructions, he sounds like an idiot. And many people are like, if murders are happening at this place, why are they open? Do you not hear the guy who's on the phone? He is a complete and utter idiot. You can just assume that in this world, everyone has that same mentality. This dopey, I don't give a crap mentality. And to be fair, in many ways, we have that same mentality as well. Okay, like, we're not as blunt about it as they are in the game. Like, they're more open about it. Just like they show how hypocritical they are. That's where the sense of humor of this game comes from. But later on, we wanted it to be more of like a Shakespearean type story. Well, maybe not a Shakespeare. I'm being exaggerating. I'm exaggerating a lot here, but we were trying really hard to make this story be more serious than it was. It was just a game for kids, and we were trying to make it more mature than it was. And I don't know. I think it was that kind of ruined some of it. And after seeing this last in Final Theory, being the fifth final theory that the game theorists have came out, I'm not trying to like say that it's incorrect or that he's wrong about it or that I'm trying to debunk a lot of it, or if anything, I'm out here saying that he's probably right. He's probably for the most part right about this entire timeline or this entire storyline that this game was probably hinting at. Maybe that's exactly what the creator was intending. Maybe that's what the story that he had in his head. Maybe that's what he was hinting at. Maybe this is the story. Maybe everything that Matt Pat said in this last video that he did, that's probably is the story. I wish Scott Cawthon would finally come out and say, "Yeah, you got me. You solved it." He hasn't done that, but like the closest thing to it, like I think this is as close as we're gonna get for like the actual story. It makes sense, I guess. Not really in a realistic sense, but makes sense in a chronological story type of way. It does fit in. There is enough evidence that alludes to the idea that it's probably what he intended. But again, and not saying that the fourth game is bad or anything, but it is when you're seeing the game theorist video on like the last and final game theory on FNAF, as you're watching it, it's until like the fourth game. The fourth game is a prequel, and it's actually where most of the story starts. But there does come a point as he's explaining some of the story that came from the fourth game, that I'm kind of like, this is stupid. And it's only basically the story elements that came out from the fourth game, the fifth game being Sister Location. Then I guess the book series that he also covered. That's really where it gets sloppy for me, and I start to like not enjoy it as much because it just tries too hard. It focuses more on like robots and Michael Afton giving us a backstory on that dude. And to me, the murderer, Michael Afton, you can give me a name of the murderer, but him being this super, you know, evil scientist wanting to like create life through robotics or whatever, that doesn't mesh with me. I prefer some, if it was like some diddler, a pedo, or some, an evil dude doing something bad to kids, killing them so they wouldn't go to the cops, and, just using this as a front as his criminal activity and these kids dying and trying to get revenge on him. I prefer that story than the story that was then revealed to us by Matt Patt in this last video of, oh, he was trying to, like, I don't know, like, this was all an experiment and he wanted to create robots with, like, a mind of their own. Like, that, I don't care about that. Like, yeah, and again, going back to the fourth game, I enjoyed the fourth game. Like, he goes into details about who the golden bear is, and, you know, and again, it makes sense, but I just feel that most of this story I'm gonna just keep as and say, oh, this is canon. This is what the story the guy wanted to tell. I, for one, as a fan, feel that you should be at liberty to say, well, let's just switch this part of the story and let's just say that's not what happened, or let's just change it altogether. Maybe it's a completely different motivation. Maybe that's why the guy did it. Maybe that's why the guy hasn't come out and say that this thing is canon or that's exactly the story that is being told here, because maybe he wants it to be open. Maybe he wants everyone to contribute their own grain of salt, not salt, but their he he wants us to use our own imagination and to add on to the story that he's telling. Maybe that's why he has it just broad, and maybe that's why he just gives us hints of what has happened in the story and not just out front tell us what has happened in the story. Maybe that's why. And but the thing is that the fan base has gone with whatever Matt Patt has said and kind of ruins that whole thing, that whole idea, and I don't know, maybe, or maybe this is his intention, or maybe he doesn't have an intention for this. Maybe it's just whatever. Maybe he really didn't care that much. But yeah, that's just my opinions on it. I don't know. What do you guys think about FNAF? I'm still willing to say that I'm a fan of it, but I'm not gonna say that I'm still as big of a fan as before. It has lost me along the way, and but that doesn't mean that I hate it now. I do look at the first three games and some of the fourth game and say, this part makes sense to me. The rest, it doesn't. And as for the rest of the series, well, it's mostly books. They made books about this, and I haven't read the books, and the books aren't for me. The books are for, younger kids. So, I don't know. I think it's one of those things that you can take some of the story elements out of it to make it your own. And I think that's unique, and I think that's a smart way of looking at this franchise. So, I guess comment below or give this video a thumbs down if you don't think I did a good job on it still. I'd appreciate the feedback, but yeah, those are my thoughts on this and the whole timeline and the theories on it, and that's it. Bye.